So the Yiddish word for this week is bubby. And bubby is another word for grandmother. And hopefully your grandmother or bubby approves of the quadratic formula. So this is going to be for lesson 9.1.2, which is going to involve the quadratic formula. Now, the two ways you know how to do, or the two ways you know how to find the roots of a quadratic is with factoring. And the way we know factoring is when we make a generic rectangle and a diamond and we do it that way. And you also know how to complete the square. Okay, so complete the square. Those are the two ways you know so far of how to factor out, get the roots of an equation. But we're going to do the quadratic formula as well. And this quadratic formula is the big gun. It's the biggest thing that you can use. It'll work no matter the case. No matter what the quadratic looks like, doesn't matter as long as you put it in that form of ax squared plus bx plus c. If you remember, that's standard form. When you put in that standard form, you get your a, your b, and your c, you'll be able to use the quadratic formula. And the quadratic formula is this, and it's located in your textbook in lesson 9.1.2, but it's this. It's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So I want to run through one problem with you so that you can follow along if you're doing it on question number 13 in your textbook. And we're going to use the quadratic formula on that one. We're going to use it on x squared minus 3x minus 7. We're going to set it to 0 as normal, and we're going to go ahead and use the quadratic formula. The first thing you got to do is set your a and your b and your c. You got to actually write them out. So your a in this case, if you remember, that's a 1. Your b is a negative 3, and your c is negative 7. Then we go ahead and rewrite the quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And now we go ahead and we plug in our units. And at this part, you can go ahead and fast forward. When you reach this point, at this point, you go ahead and you split your quadratic into two. Right now, you have the exact answer, actually. These are the roots. This is exact right here because the square root of 37 is an irrational number. But you're going to go ahead and you're going to split this into two. You're going to say x equals 3, excuse me, plus the square root of 37 divided by 2, and you're going to say x equals 3 minus the square root of 37 divided by 2. When you go ahead and you do this, you should get x equals approximately, so we'll set the approximately sign here, 4.54, and x is approximately negative 1.54. And those are your roots. And you can actually confirm this if you go ahead and put the original quadratic into decimals. And that's how it works, okay, even with my sloppy handwriting and everything. So talk it over with your booby and see what she says. And you can try the problems now on 14 and onward, especially question number 15 on page 422.